And now, your official TigerBait postgame show with Mike Scarborough and Preston Guy starts now.
All right, everybody. Another late or early morning post-game show. LSU takes care of business 56-14, and your Heisman Trophy candidate, Jayden Daniels, goes off for another electric night, both running and passing. What a performance. And I'm seeing some of the ESPN talking heads getting out in front. Booger McFarland on Twitter. And, of course, Bo Nix had a big day today also. But I think what we've seen out of Jayden Daniels is, yeah, we're biased, but I think he should be your Heisman front runner. But I don't think there's any doubt at this point that Jayden Daniels is going to get the invite to be there. And so let's see what happens next Saturday against Texas A&M. But a whole lot of numbers put up tonight. And I had 55-21 as my predicted score, and it was pretty close, 56-14. So, all right, Preston, what give us your thoughts? Unmute yourself.
Whoops.
There you are.
You're saying Jayden Daniels deserves the Heisman, and we might be biased, and you might be right about that. We might be biased, but the numbers are not. He's got 4,600 yards, 46 touchdowns this year. That's unbelievable. He's 500 yards and 9 touchdowns away from being second in SEC history for both of those statistics. Who's number one? Well, I'll give you one guess, and that's probably one less than you needed. Joe Burrow with 6,000 yards and 65 touchdowns. That's going to be unattainable, but the cool part about that is there's a very realistic shot for LSU to have the top 2 guys in those categories in SEC history. Very cool thing that LSU can beat on its chest. And I saw Joe Sloan after the game catching the elevator, and he looked at me and had a big smirk on his face. I think he knows what he's got going.
Absolutely. And again, you know, we sound like broken records. You watch the way Jayden Daniels conducts himself. He's always having fun and smiling. One of the more likable LSU players in recent history. And you just love to see a kid like that have success. And no diva stuff coming out of him like we're seeing in other sports on campus. And but, yeah, so – all right, guys, if you're enjoying the show, as always, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, hit that notification bell. We're loading stuff up on our YouTube channel every day, multiple stuff. And we're going to take as many of your questions and comments as we can tonight. Fire 3449. Mike Sageron played well, and Javen Nicholas with a nice punt return. Absolutely. And prayers for Jordan Travis, FSU quarterback that went down with a really ugly leg injury.
You saw that? Oh, man, that's nasty. I feel terrible for Florida State, man. I mean, they've been down for about 9 years now, and they go 10-0, and Jordan Travis is a stud at quarterback for them. And, yeah.
Well, look, you know, you were already having some people before his injury, you know, wonder if Florida State might be the odd team out.
No, not if they went out, but now I don't know. I don't know. It looked like that backup quarterback wasn't quite as good as Jordan Travis. We'll see. I'll tell you what, Florida's going to give them their best shot next week. That'll be fun because you know they need to win that game or they're not going to a bowl game.
Well, I was giving a Florida Gator buddy of mine that I grew up with the business tonight, and because I predicted during the summer that they would not be bowl eligible, and
yeah, I said 4-8, so they're impressing me.
Yeah, I had them going 5-7. Okay. Fresh Kroger pineapple. If you had to pick either Jayden or Joe, both playing at their LSU peak to start at quarterback, who would you choose? Used to be an easy question for me, but I don't know anymore. Jayden is that special. Man, I just know in the years to come we're going to be saying what if. It's with Jayden Daniels, there's going to be so much what if and or like a wasted opportunity because of the defense being so awful.
We're going to be talking about that for years. All right,
Yeah,
let me address this question with my general thoughts to it. Please don't ask me this question. Please don't. This is the one question you can ask.
like picking your favorite child.
But it's a little easy. Well, everybody has a favorite child. It's easy to pick out. Okay, and just like that, you have a favorite in this. Okay, this is the only question you can ask that forces people to disparage Jayden Daniels or not glow about him. It's literally it. No, Jayden Daniels is not as good as Joe Burrow. No, I would not pick Jayden Daniels over Joe Burrow. There's not a player in college football history I would pick over Joe Burrow. And I don't think it's close. I don't. And there's no way. People have asked me that and tried to reframe it and chop it up. There's no context you could possibly give me to where I would take Jayden Daniels or anybody over Joe Burrow.
But here's the other part of it. The reason why Joe was so successful is because you had a semblance of a defense that played better on the back end. And so if Jayden Daniels had LSU's defense in 16 of the previous 20 years, any one of them, say 16 of
right. 11-1 at worst, right?
And you would have the monumental wins that would have come with that, because that's all you would need for LSU to be undefeated right now.
Joe Burrow had 65 touchdowns and 6,000 yards. Nobody in the history of college football has ever done that. Joe Burrow beat 7 top 10 teams. He beat like 6 of the other top 10 teams at the final rankings. He beat the preseason top 4, and he did it by an average margin of like 19.6 points per game, all while doing what he did. I love Jayden Daniels. Joe Burrow is a much more polished passer.
but a lot of what
close.
you just, but and I would take Joe also. The problem for Jayden though is a lot of what you just rattled off is because Joe had a more complete football team with him. You want to talk about that question for Jayden Daniels you were joking about before the game tonight? How does it feel carrying this LSU football team on your back?
Yeah, I joked about Mike. I said, I'm going to ask Jayden a question. I'm going to say, does your back hurt from carrying this team? Because he does. No, and look, understand, Mike, I'm taking Jayden Daniels over the majority of the Heisman winners over the last, in my lifetime. Honestly. Like, would I take him over RG3? Yeah, I'd take him over RG3. Well, ask about anybody. And would I take him over Bryce Young? Yeah, I'd take Jayden Daniels over Bryce Young. That one's pretty close, but yeah. I mean, you're just asking me to compare him to 2019 Joe Burrow is the greatest player in college football history. And I don't know that it's really close. Please don't ask me that question.
But here's the problem. This is what's going to rankle you for years, is because Jayden Daniels really ain't that far behind him, and he's got no supporting cast on the other side of football.
In terms of what? He's not far
defense. There's no defense.
But what do you mean he's not that far behind him?
As far as what he does offensively, you can give me numbers all day long. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I'm just talking
about what he means in the execution of an offense and scoring points.
Joe Burrow was perfect in every game. There was never a moment where you looked up and said, he's not incredible. Every single game, he'd start like 12 of 13. Like, he would basically compete he had the second highest completion percentage in college football history. All in a high volume downfield. It's just that you can't compare. I'm sorry. Nobody compares to Joe Burrow. And I love Jayden. I really do. Excellent quarterback. It's just no comparison.
Well, I'll also say this, and then we're going to move on. We've seen the 2 best quarterbacks in LSU history in the span of 5 years.
And is third even close?
Well, I used to always say for years
Burt
before
Jones?
Joe Burrow came around, I'd have different categories. I think Burt Jones was probably one of the greatest quarterbacks before
Really
Joe
good.
Burrow, but he didn't do it at LSU. He was an
Yeah.
NFL MVP, but he was in Charles McClendon's offense. Of course,
And he split time with
that was a little bit before my time. But if you had to pick one LSU quarterback to win one game before Joe Burrow, I probably would have said Rohan Davey.
it's a good one. Or
You know,
Jamarcus Russell. Mettenberger was pretty good.
yeah,
But
I wouldn't have
I just
taken them
don't
over.
think
I would not have taken them over Rohan in one game.
I mean, Rohan was so good, man. And by the way, his record for passing yards, it's still around. It's hanging on. It's on life support, but it's survived Joe Burrow and Jayden Daniels.
But I also wonder what some of those previous LSU quarterbacks, what they might have done in these new modern offenses.
I do wonder that as well. I'm sure they would have had better numbers.
And former quarterbacks, that's all they talk about,
Yeah. Well, especially because that modern offense didn't come to LSU until, basically 2019.
Well, now everybody's running it.
LSU was in the Stone Age with Les Miles for an extra decade.
Yeah. What's up, guys and gals? Glad to have you with you, Kent. Fresh Kroger won. The only reason I would lean Joe is because he won a national championship. Absolutely. Jayden is incredible with his legs and his arm, and proved so much here that he could really be what Kyler and Lamar aren't in the NFL. Although Lamar's arm looks a bit better this year. A slightly small Mike Vick who can scramble and has the accuracy to boot.
I think he's bigger than Mike Vick. I like the Lamar Jayden Daniels comparison. I like that a lot. They play very similarly.
Nick Berry, serious question. Do we fire Matt House? And if so, what are the good replacement candidates? I tend to think that that whole side of the ball has a chance of getting wiped out. Coaching staff.
Even if they were a good coaching staff, almost for PR purposes, with this defense being this historically bad, right? How do you recruit players for another year knowing you're bringing them back and the people think that they're going to come play for this coaching staff that just had this abysmal year? You almost are in a position where you have to. I'll throw some names out. Jim Leonhard, who's currently like an analyst. He didn't get fired at Wisconsin. The new coach that came in didn't retain him. Dave Aranda would be my goal, even though it might seem a little lazy to go with the former coordinator. He's on the hot seat at Baylor. I don't know if he'll last. We'll see. Maybe they give him another year. We'll see. Maybe he wants to keep that buyout. We'll see. Zach Arnett is a name that's available. Clark Lee from Vanderbilt. We'll see. We'll see.
I sure would like to see LSU maybe try and make a run at Elijah Robinson at Texas A&M.
The D-line coach?
Huh?
You talking about he's their D-line coach, right?
Right, an interim head coach.
Yeah, he's really good. Really good D-line coach. I'd love to see that.
He's a hell of a recruiter.
Hell of a recruiter. And there's a certain Louisiana defensive lineman that's currently
I don't know that he would be a guy for DC, but
no.
I'd throw a ton of money at him as a defensive line coach and make him run game coordinator. Whatever you got to do. Okay. Freaky Frieds says Jayden Daniels deserves the Heisman even if he doesn't get it. Mike, the biggest number is the 1.8 million New Mexico State got paid to beat Auburn.
Oh, man. You know what's funny? They gave New Mexico 24.5 points. I'm sorry. They gave Auburn minus 24.5. And New Mexico almost covered that. They beat them by 21. That's pretty funny. I don't even know how that happened. How do you get beat by New Mexico State by 21?
Man, you look at back in LSU history and the coaches that did big things, they always had a game like that they on their resume, didn't they? Saban with UAB, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, they've got some work to do at Auburn, but they're spending some money.
I think Auburn doesn't have the dudes in place. I mean, I do think Hugh Freeze is a pretty solid coach.
Big Honus Keller, what's up, everyone? Mike and Preston, my BFFs, go Tigers. James Moore, Knicks won the Heisman tonight, guys. It's about the bigger platform toward the end of the season, and unfortunately, Jayden is not on that stage.
You know, you're right about the platform, and Jayden has lost his opportunity for a platform, but there's a lot of big
the bigger
promoting Jayden Daniels.
I disagree. The bigger platforms in the playoffs. The Heisman is given away before then.
Okay, but the conference championship,
LSU is on national television every week.
Okay, but nobody watched.
Be on ESPN next week. That's the platform.
And you're going to be in the same time slot as Ohio State, Michigan.
When does Oregon?
You're not getting a ton of eyes.
Preston, when does Oregon play?
I don't know, but guess what? They're going to be in the Pac-12
they're on the West
championship. They're going to be in the Pac-12 championship against Washington, where you're going to get 10 million plus viewers, right? And Jayden Daniels is going to be sitting at home. He doesn't have the platform. That's not a debatable fact.
He's going to have to have a big game, Driscoll. You Driscoll and me over there with your microphone.
I mean, he is going to have a big game, but he does have the platform. Yeah, I'm not saying it's Knicks's. I'm just saying
does right as well. They've been on prime time on ESPN. How many weeks?
What
was last week? They get the lead in from game day next Saturday morning, even though it's at 11 a.m. that everybody here hates.
I mean, Jayden Daniels has had lots of big spots, but we're talking about what he has coming down the road at the end of the year. We're not talking about
there's only one game. There's only one game that does that.
Yeah, one game, and the others are going to have two.
If he has an average game in a title game, that could be the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really need. Or I don't want to say need, but you really could want Bo Nix to lose in the championship game.
The Heisman is given away the next week. The Heisman is given away the next week.
There's a lot of very knowledgeable people on the national level who are starting to realize a lot of Bo Nix's production comes on dink and dunk stuff. I think I heard 85% of his throws go for less than 10 yards or something like that. Don't quote me directly, but it was something to that effect whereas Jayden Daniels leads the country in 20-plus yard plays by a lot, by the way.
And that's why Brian Kelly said what he said tonight, didn't he?
Yep, I asked him directly, and I was shocked nobody's asked him this, by the way. And let me ask.
He talked about the deep throws and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I asked Jayden about that post game too, about what he's done to work on it. And his answer was more or less, "I've kind of always been good at deep throws." I was like, "All right, but you're doing a lot more of them this year." I asked Brian Kelly tonight if Jayden Daniels is the best player he'd ever coached, and mind you, he's been a head coach for over 30 years, and he did say effectively yes. So quite the comment.
Kent Jones would love to see what a squared away Ryan Perlew would do in our offense today. I think Perlew would have been fantastic in one of these offenses.
I agree.
And thank you for that super chat, Kent. Big Cojones Kelly with a super chat. I think the powers that be want a Pac-12 quarterback to win in the final year of the conference. Preston, have you seen it? Has anybody in the chat seen it? Is there a breakdown of Heisman voters and where they are located in the country?
They put that out every year, but I'm going to say this. The geography benefits Jayden a lot. That's why I've told people it's much more realistic than you think that Jayden actually wins the darn thing, because in the Southeast footprint, let's just say it's all evenly distributed. The Southeast footprint, it's Jayden and Jayden. He's going to get 100% of those votes. Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. are going to split the West Coast vote. There's nothing that can go down to where they will not split that vote.
Whereas Jayden's got the highest populated part of the country, because he's also going to have everything east, because he's the only guy
geographically
thing.
closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this, the East Coast guys, they're 4 hours ahead of the West Coast. They're not staying up till, 1 AM
Exactly.
their time to
But see,
watch
Preston,
those guys play.
you're making the argument I was making with you 2 minutes ago.
No, I'm saying that
When does Oregon play?
have the platform coming down the road. There's a difference. Yeah, he's been on national television.
Right, he's got, but that
but he
platform is
doesn't
one
have
game.
it coming at the very end is my point. Because next
but-
week,
but-
you're not going to get the views that they get for the Pac-12 championship. You just aren't.
That's fine, but that's one game. And then the Heisman's given away the next week. The playoffs, the Heisman winner is playing in the playoffs. If or unless it's Jayden.
Yeah. And then you got to look at all the other candidates. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Heisman candidate. People keep on talking about. He doesn't even have the numbers of Malik Neighbors. And I'm not going to say he probably should be up there for the Biletnikoff. Fantastic receiver, and he doesn't have the quarterback that Malik Neighbors has. That being said, it really. And Jordan Travis was another Heisman candidate, probably up there. I mean, poor guy broke his foot tonight. And his numbers, you look at his numbers and they're definitely good. They're good, but I think he has half the touchdowns that Jayden Daniels has. The more this goes on, the more I like Jayden Daniels' chances. I believe he's got the best odds he's ever had. I think I saw tonight Bo Nix was minus 120 and Jayden Daniels minus 130. Those are your odds. So he's right there, man.
Big Honus Kelly, thank you for that super chat, big time. And it's that time of the show. Let's hear from our good buddy and Kenny Haynes. Had lunch with him earlier today. He was in town.
Kenny Haynes is a proud 1989 graduate of LSU Law School with a passion for justice. Kenny stands out as the only lawyer in the state, board certified in both appellate practice and family law. Drawing from 34 years of trial experience, Kenny has navigated the most complex aspects of real people's lives. If you need help in Northwest Louisiana with a family issue, legal issue, or a highly skilled trial attorney, call Kenny 318-222-2100. And speaking of winning, Kenny would like to recognize our 2023 national champions and congratulate coaches Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson. Go Tigers!
And Kenny is the unofficial official lawyer of TigerBait.com, and he reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. If you need any legal work done in North Louisiana, Kenny is who you want to talk to. And of course, he's one of the best. And I tell you want to talk about the best? Our buddies over at Koala Insulation. Need to protect your investment and give Koala Insulation a call. The team at Koala Insulation of Baton Rouge are your residential and commercial energy efficiency experts. The approaches Koala provides not only help you reduce energy bills and maintain a more comfortable living environment, but can also help reduce airborne allergens, water condensation issues, wear and tear on your HVAC system, and even lengthen the life of your roof shingles. The Koala team provides existing homeowners with a doctor's diagnosis of your home's energy efficiency and can offer several strategies to help you stay more comfortable and save money on energy bills all year long. Koala has the capacity to tackle large spray foam projects and new home construction while being available to help everyday homeowners get some relief from South Louisiana's extreme weather. As an added bonus, most of Koala's projects qualify for federal income tax credits. So give Koala a call today, 225-457-1001 to schedule your free energy efficiency assessment. And please tell them you heard about them right here on TigerBait.com. And they're going to give you 7% off on your project. Tim DeSales and his guys over there are fantastic. They did unbelievable work here in my home. And I'm personally vouching for them, as are many others who have used them here in the Baton Rouge area. All right, Preston, let's dive in. You see anything else that let's see. There you go. Kent Jones. I've actually seen Bama fans promoting Jayden Daniels for the Heisman.
I have actually been seeing that. A lot of respect from them. I want to throw this one up here. Jayden Daniels alone has more 20-plus yards than every other team in the country. That's insanity. And look, if Jayden Daniels wins, it's because of just the wide array, the ways you slice and dice his numbers that look just obscene like that. That's like video game stuff right there. That's the kind of stuff that will win them the Heisman, because those are the kind of numbers and graphics that are gonna make an impression on voters across the country. Is like, dang, he lost 3 games, but I mean, he has more 20+ yard plays than every team in the country. That's disgusting.
It just makes me mad. It just, I said it in our game chat tonight. I just can't. I personally cannot have any more disdain for this LSU defense than I have right now. And what Jayden Daniels and that offense has done, and we keep saying Jayden Daniels, Malik Neighbors should win the Biletnikoff. What Brian Thomas has done, the offensive line, the running game's been, better. Certainly, Logan Diggs is missed right now.
Yeah,
but even because everybody's going to point to the losses. How can you give a Heisman? It's very often, not very often. Of course, you can see it done 3 times just in the last 15 years, where someone's won the Heisman with a team that with 2 or more losses. But it's just even in the losses, his numbers and his performance were extraordinary. And I mean, his worst performance of the year was Florida State, and look at what he did in that game. It's all the defense. Also remember that Bo's from the South and played for Auburn. He'll get some. I don't know that he will get that.
Maybe a handful, but I don't think enough to really make it. Might be a tiny bump on the radar. He might get some of those Auburn fans, Auburn voters who give him some love. He'll probably get Cam Newton's vote.
It wouldn't surprise me if Cam Newton gave his vote to Jayden Daniels.
I mean, and worth noting, the Auburn fans have been respecting Jayden Daniels until. Ooh, this is a good question.
I was on with Eric Asher in New Orleans Monday, and he had a draft guy on, and he said they had him right now at the 32nd pick. So back into the first round.
I saw 2 mock drafts this week for the first time that had Jayden Daniels going at 11 to Tampa, and then another going 6 to Atlanta, which both of those would make me sick to my stomach as a Saints fan. I swear to God, if Jayden Daniels gets to beat you for the next 15 years. Wait. I want to rewind, Mike. Let me twist that question around a little bit. Would you draft him in the top 10?
I think the Senior Bowl is going to be really big. That's why I put Pegasus.
Do you think he plays? You think he plays in the Senior Bowl?
I mean, he accepted the invite the other day, right?
No, he didn't. He
was handed the invite.
He was handed it. He didn't. He actually went on to say he hasn't made the decision if he'll play or not.
He might not need to do it. He might just do individual workouts. But the interviews alone, I think, are going to help him. And
I agree. Likeable kid, man.
I really like Caleb Williams.
I think Caleb Williams has more arm talent in terms of just the ridiculous throws he can make. I think Caleb Williams will be number 1 overall. I think Drake May is going number 2 quarterback, but I think that number 3 quarterback spot is up for grabs. And there's a lot of quarterbacks deciding to stick around in college football, notably Quinn Ewers. The storm is set for Jayden Daniels to have the opportunity to be a top 10 pick. I'll tell you that much.
Let's see what I saw up here.
You see, we got 2 super chats in, Mike.
Go ahead, put them up.
All right. Now I do not know NDNHSHN. Brian Kelly finally has a quarterback and still sucks. Uh, JD4 for Heisman. Well, I don't know that he sucks because I mean he is, he has an opportunity to win 20 games in his first 2 years, inheriting a program that went sub 500 in the previous 2 years with 39 scholarship players available for the bowl game, and it was a train wreck that he got. And to have these kind of seasons put together, it is impressive for him so far. Riley Artigo, smash that like button. Thank you, Riley, for the super chat and all your great comments. Yes, guys, smash the like button tonight. It helps with our analytics and whatnot with YouTube. So I'd appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Hal Jubin asked me something earlier. There it is. Got to ask how Hammond was last night. It was interesting. It was a fun night, and obviously, I don't know if AFB's video had the tail end, but when I'm the one that asked Mulkey at the end if her allergies were bothering her, and it wasn't to listen an answer that she gave that got a certain segment of the population upset because she was flipping about COVID. That's not what she was doing. But
Mike, I just want to say I was repulsed that she would joke about COVID and getting a test. I was completely offended. Come on, people, get over yourselves. Like, shut up.
Let me tell you something, man. There's people who work in local hospitals that if they think they might have COVID, they don't even get tested. They just go to work the next day because that's what it is now. But anyways, I was asking her that because I have bad allergies. You can probably tell most nights I'm always rubbing my nose this time of year. And I mean, I could spot from a mile away. In fact, I was about to dig in my bag to see if I had a Zyrtec to give to her. But anyways, obviously the Angel Reese stuff was big news. And I was there when the bus pulled up. I was the only one there with the camera to see that Angel Reese wasn't on the bus. And there you go. We'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. But Kim Mulkey says that Angel's got a list of things she's got to get done, and then she has an opportunity to be back with him. I like this show. Kent says NDNH. How do you say that? Mike and Preston are cool dudes. Thank you for that.
Appreciate it. I feel like your new username is like gonna trick us into saying a dirty word or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Palermo Trapani. Well, I hope LSU does not play Notre Dame in the bowl game, not because it will not be a good game, but because it will be a media crap show. Yeah, I don't want to see that right now.
Especially if
LSU has any opt-outs.
Yeah, if Jayden Daniels chooses not to play that game, you talk about the nightmare that LSU would have to deal with. I mean, the Notre Dame fan base is so obnoxious, man. They would be acting like they won the frickin' Super Bowl if they beat their old coach with a backup quarterback. But I get where you're coming from. I do get it.
I am one of those people, by the way, and it's partially because of the success that LSU's had this century, and then what we started seeing with opt-outs started happening 7 or 8 years ago, and now with the 14 playoff, I do admit that I'm one of those people that when it gets to and you're in that 9-3 realm, and you're whether it's a Texas Bowl or an Outback or a Citrus Bowl, I could not give a damn about any of those games. I'm one of those people that the playoffs have ruined the bowls for. I know there's guys out there who will watch the Liberty Bowl and the Gasparilla Bowl. They'll watch every bowl that's on in December, but I'm not one of them.
Let me ask you this. I've heard you say this for years, right? Does this apply to like New Year's Six bowls?
It depends on the matchup and if there is no opt-outs. I mean, but you remember I remember back in the day where like when LSU played in that Cotton Bowl, Tyrann Mathieu freshman year against Texas A&M before they came into the league.
Now that was not a BCS bowl back then.
That was not a BCS bowl, but because it was Fox's only game, they promoted the heck out of it. And it was at Jerry World, and it had the feel of a New Year's Six game.
Terrence Tolliver, 4 touchdowns. That was fun.
But those do those type of games exist anymore? And that was pre-era of opt-outs and everything else you got.
Yeah, that not really, especially because back then the Cotton Bowl was like the third SEC bowl game outside of, it was like a game above the Peach Bowl, right? And now the Peach Bowl is a big bowl game too. It was not a very highly ranked bowl game, but it was cool because you got to play in Jerry World and all that good stuff. Yeah, with the modern trend in college football being that players opt out and all that good stuff, and they aren't taken seriously, and coaches, because of the early signing day period, coaches are now leaving their teams earlier at a higher rate. You almost had to go to an expanded playoff because your postseason was trash, absolute dumpster fire before, and I'm glad they're making the adjustment. I'll tell you what, this would be fun talking about this team next year. If this team was for LSU, sitting there at 9-3, can LSU somehow wiggle its way into a 12-team playoff? That'd be fun to talk about.
Right.
This is a team you don't want to play in a playoff.
You look, I don't know if you feel it, but I've felt it around town since the loss to Alabama. A lot of people have automatically moved to how they're going to finish out this recruiting class and what changes are going to be made on defense. Going through the motions today with Georgia State, and you got your tickets. I've seen so many parking passes and tickets for sale on Facebook.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks. Now the A&M games at 11 in the morning. Look, you do want to finish strong. You want LSU to beat A&M next week. Absolutely. But you're right. If it were a 12-team playoff, I think a lot of people will be a lot more engaged about the actual football product rather than thinking to the future right now.
Well, I'm going to say there's one caveat. Mostly what you're saying is right. There was probably 75,000 people tonight. Brian Lazar is so scientific with his crowd estimations. I'm going to say it's pretty accurate with 75K. But that being said, I will say there is another layer of people being legitimately excited about Jayden Daniels' chance to win the Heisman Trophy. I think people care more about that than even the wins or losses.
Right.
It's like the win is a byproduct of helping that happen at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I mean, that is the whole ball of wax right now. It's all about, that's what's keeping a lot of people engaged, is getting Jayden Daniels to New York, and can he get the Heisman?
Well, if he wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate, this show would have half as many viewers right now. I legitimately think that.
Scrolling up, guys. Give me 1 minute.
I got a super chat.
Preston, you want to go ahead and talk about Spector?
Sure, and then we got a super chat to get to right after that. So, guys, if you see the artwork behind us, you see the link on there, SpectorSportsArt.com/the Bayou. Guys, artist Jordan Spector has been nice enough to sponsor our show this year. Guys, whether it's the Joe Burrow Smoking Joe or the Dylan Cruz 7 behind me, guys, this is artwork that's guaranteed to catch the eyes of any Tiger fan, and the details are going to be what really hold their attention, right? He started with the Joe Burrow piece, which you can see behind Mike there, and since then he's released 4 more pieces that just look great in any man cave. He's got the Drew Brees, Dylan Cruz, the Tiger Stadium, which you can see behind both of us, and he's even got the Tommy Tanks one. So you can see
that's all. What I like. I like the Tommy Tanks one.
The Tommy Tanks one's pretty cool. He's got arms up like that. You can go check him out on his website. Here's a little graphic showing a few of them here. Coolest part about all this artwork, guys, the athletes themselves get this artwork. right? You can see there's a picture in the top right-hand corner of Dylan Cruz getting the original artwork from Jordan Spector. It's hanging up in his man cave, guys. So Joe Burrow's parents, I've done shows with them, and they've got that piece hanging in their living room. I mean, that's always the coolest part about this. Get the artwork that the athletes have themselves. The artwork is available in quality print or canvas in any size to fit any room or any budget. The art is straight from the box to your wall. Make sure to visit the link in the description of this video and check out the entire Bayou collection. Make sure to use our exclusive promo code TigerBait10 to get 10% off your first order. Guys, you're not going to be disappointed. And of course, remember, anytime we give you a promo code like this one, it's not only giving you a discount, it's letting our sponsors know that them supporting this show is worth it. It's indirectly supporting the show is what you're doing. You get great artwork, and you're supporting TigerBait.com by making it happen.
That Joe Burrow piece behind me is
Good.
something else. It's a beautiful piece.
In the world
you
of
can put that in your office. It's a great office piece. Heck, I know we got a lot of guys who own restaurants, and that's a great piece for a restaurant too. A lot of his stuff is.
In the world of ChatGPT art, get you some Jordan Spector art, guys. Am I the only one who's sick and tired of seeing the AI stupid pictures for whatever? Like, oh, look, here's Bo Nix riding a duck. You know, like, okay, come on, man.
Seriously, LSU, not a good game for us. Go Irish. You said we had a couple more. Or is that the only one?
That's it. That's the one I was going to put up there. Yeah. So he must be a Notre Dame fan. I guess his name is Notre Dame Nate. Sean, maybe.
Notre Dame Nation.
Crafty. I like it.
Come on, millennial. You can't let this Gen
Dude,
X
hold up. No, hold up. Guys.
This
you
Gen
don't
X
know.
figured out before you.
No. This ain't nothing about generational. Mike, you with the names. I've never met someone so good at not only pronouncing names and reading names, but remembering names. Guys, when he talks about recruits, he doesn't like have written down notes. He just remembers. He just remembers the kids, the names, all that stuff. I'll never be that good. I will never be as good with names as you are. I've got the CTE brain, man.
Dude, I'm bad compared to Sanji. I mean, Sanji.
Really?
I mean, Sanji remembers everything.
Really? But you cover so many more recruits.
Dude, he can tell you about how the second quarter ended in a game in 1996 and what the final score was off the top of his head. I mean, it's just bonkers, man.
See, I'm good with numbers. I can remember numbers. It's the names that I struggle with compared to you. I'm just like, yeah, I know that kid. What's his name? It takes me a second. You're pretty robotic with the names. Names in general. It's unreal.
Big Honus Kelly, if JD5 opts out, I would like to see what Nuss does as a starter. And see, look, that's another part of what we've seen this season. On one hand, it's been good for Jayden Daniels in this possible Heisman, but because LSU's defense has been so awful, you know, one of the things that you went into this season hoping is that Nussmeier would get some real time and some real reps, and so because you know he's going to be your guy for 24, and that he would have more experience than he's got right now.
Do you?
But because he hasn't had the opportunity.
Wait. You said you know he's going to be your guy. Do you know for sure he's going to be your guy next year?
No, look, I'm the guy who says they need to go on the portal and get a quarterback. One, to push Nussmeier, but mainly to have a strong number two.
Yeah.
But if he is going to be the guy, you would like to know a little bit more about him right now in mid-November. And if LSU had any semblance of a defense, he would have gotten more plays and reps. But Jayden Daniels had to stay in some games so much longer and keep scoring points in order for LSU to win.
Let me just throw something out there real quick. And this is, and look, if Nuss is your guy next year, I think that's a very quality player to put out there. I mean, we're talking about a veteran guy, tons of rep, tons of talent. There's no problem with that. But if you're a top tier transfer portal quarterback, let's say you decide to use your COVID year and you say, well, I don't like where my draft stock's at, but I want to make some money in the NIL and work my way up. This offensive system I'm in just ain't going to do it. Let me go somewhere that's really going to pad my stats and help elevate my draft stock. You look at LSU and you look at the talent. You look at the running backs LSU is going to be bringing back next year. You look at the offensive line LSU is going to be bringing back next year. You look at the coaching system that just produced this. If you're an elite top flight college quarterback, LSU's pretty appealing. That's something where you can no longer just say, well, you got a veteran quarterback, highly recruited, highly talented guy. We're good to go. We're good. You can't do that when a potential another Heisman quality quarterback could be knocking on your door. You can't do that anymore. You don't have the luxury of being lazy with that anymore.
Yeah. Big Cojones Kelly says, Buddy is a walking LSU sports almanac, and Hal Jubin makes a good point too. That so is Charles Hannegriff. Charlie has an excellent memory as well. Jacques Doucet does. I also noticed that a couple of those guys look at things. They're looking at different things during a game than I am. And so, and their memory on those things, I think Jacques and I are probably similar into the things that we remember. But where those guys are different than me, they're going to remember the order of the schedule. Like, well, that game in 2001, but do you remember what happened the next week? And I'm going to be like, no, I don't. But they're going to remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? Palermo Trapani walking across campus after the game looked deserted. I was like looking for people to stay in the crowd with, hard to find them.
It was pretty ghostly after the game. I'm not going to lie. You know, I had to do the press conference and write my story. So I was probably walking out about 50 minutes after the game, and I might have saw 20 people, maybe. It was emptied out. There was no problem driving home tonight. It was pretty lightly attended. All I got to say on that. Next week, LSU plays at 11 a.m. That is not ideal for a Tiger fan. We like to, sleep in, get our drinking in, do the tailgating, all that good stuff. This will be your final opportunity to watch Jayden Daniels play. If it were not for Joe Burrow coming to LSU, that would be the best player in the history of your program. He might be your Heisman Trophy winner. I think if you have an opportunity to go, you should go next week, and you should not leave no matter what the score is. I think you should go, stay, cheer, and sing the alma mater with Jayden Daniels after the game. That's what I would encourage people to do next week.
All right, let's pay one more bill, and I think y'all are going to like this one. Let's hear from Brittany over at Drip IV. Okay, guys, everybody's been talking about the miracle weight loss drug semaglutide, and Brittany here with Drip IV is here to talk about it.
Hi, guys. I am so excited to talk to you about this drug. I've had such amazing results with my clients. I had a girl text me earlier. She's lost 41 pounds, just bought new jeans, still can't fit in her jeans. But the reason I love this drug goes way beyond weight loss. The cardiovascular benefits, the just absolute remodeling of your body and the things that it could do for you long-term. I am all on board. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you'll have me each step of the way going through it with you, making sure that you're not having side effects and really losing weight in a healthy way.
Give them a call. What number do they call, Brittany?
Yes, you can call our Baton Rouge office at 225-256-3634 and book your consultation, or you can call Lafayette at 337-347-6655. Kylie, the nurse practitioner there, would love to consult with you.
Right there on Perkins Road next to Sushiyama, Iverstein Farms. Can't miss them. Great location, and they're going to take care of you. And so go see Brittany and all of them at Drip IV. She's awesome. All right, guys, absolutely. Go over and see them. And if you need any type of IV drip, you're dehydrated, they've got all that for you over there. A lot of aesthetic services. Drip IV over there next to Iverstein Farms off Perkins, and a plus location in Lafayette. Kent Jones, if Jacques was on this show, my 3 favorite journalists would be in the same place. Love Jacques Doucette. And yeah, Jacques, one of the best. Absolutely.
Jacques, good guy. He made fun of you in the press box tonight for not being there. Came to me and said, "Your boss is lazy." I said, "Look, man, I'm not going to argue you on this one."
Yeah, but see, last night he got to send Eads, which I like to call the new guy, to Hammond.
Right?
I was there. I had a late one last night, so
yeah,
that's why I started to stay in the office tonight.
Well, I had to give him some flack back for you. I was like, "Man, so you didn't make it to Hammond last night?" And he's like, "No, I was in the studio." I was like, "Oh, you didn't go to high school football games or Hammond?" "No, I had to, anchor the 6:00 news." I was like, "Oh, sounds like you're taking this new sports director job as a cushy gig, Jock." So I teased him a little bit though for you.
Well,
Jacques great people, man, great people.
Yeah, we had a playoff matchup. We've got more coming on that hot shot quarterback from Dunham. That'll be the second time we've seen him in 4 weeks. We're going to have that footage for you early in the week. And Tyler drove to New Orleans, and just like that, we got more Harlan Berry. And of course, Harlan Berry's making a decision next month. So, and then we've got a full slate coming this week in the brackets. But there's still some teams in North Louisiana that I hope that get past their next round games. Guys that either myself or one of us at TigerBait haven't been able to see in person this season, and I'm hoping a few of them continue to win, so they come down south, or at least for the Superdome. All right. Yeah, it's about to be a busy recruiting.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
next 60 days. Oh yeah.
I mean, December 4th, transfer portal opens up. Of course, first signing period, official visitors, and what changes is going to be made on the staff. Transfer portal is going to be absolutely huge. They've got to have an answer for defensive linemen. I mean, we talk about defensive back a lot. Certainly losing 2 cornerback commitments hurts. So now I think they're going to have to go to the portal and get 1 or 2 more there. We'll see what they do to replace possible high school prospects. But yeah, they've got to get some defensive linemen, and it's going to have to come from the portal.
Mike, I think they need a lot of everything on this defense. I mean, I'm just thinking about what guys would start on the majority of SEC teams. I'm not sure there's many on this defense at really many position groups.
What about Quincy Wiggins? You saw Quincy Wiggins getting there tonight? Make a nice.
I didn't see him. No,
dude, he must have been in the elevator coming down.
Yeah,
he had a nice tackle for a loss.
Yeah. Well, not to mention this game, I was trying to hurry out of there, so it's kind of like you peek up, watch play, type your story.
Yeah.
It's kind of in brief, but yeah, I didn't see him in there, but yeah, no, he's got the frame, man. It's just, it hadn't really showed up on the field yet for him. I mean, he has a very impressive frame, hoping they put together something with him soon. And I'm sorry, Mike, you're talking about the big news recruiting. You didn't even mention coming down to Pike, you get the number 1 running back and you got the number 1 quarterback in the country for 2025, both of which.
Well, but it all starts on the 30th
of November.
Moses.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Keelan Moses. That's another big one. And I like LSU's chances for all 3 of those guys. I really like LSU's chances. What that 2025 recruiting class, guys, could be something special. And
in fact, now that you bring it up, I've in our prediction machine on TigerBait, I already have predictions to LSU for all 3 of them.
The last time I remember a class that had the pieces to end up as special as this 2025 class was 2014. And I think they missed on those pieces. Remember the infamous 2 for 5 day. I think that the pieces were there. They did not execute. I think LSU has a chance to have an even more special class because guess what? You got the number one player in the country that year. He didn't play quarterback. And you're getting some Decorian Moore is already on board, number one receiver, and Harlem Berry, number one running back. It's got this could be a special class, guys.
25 class is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But look, there's a long time between now and signing day. But whatever BK does, I mean, this really is, if he's going to turn this thing to the next level in the progression of the program, like he likes to say, the decisions that he makes in the next 6 weeks is going to dictate how soon he gets to where he wants to be. So, all right, guys, if you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. If you hadn't subscribed to the channel, do that. On our YouTube channel, we've already got Brian Kelly, Jayden Daniels interviews post-game up there. Preston, you'll be back Monday night.
I'll be back Monday night.
So he'll be doing a show Monday night. I'll be in the PMAC for LSU's women versus Texas Southern. Of course, it's Thanksgiving week. As of now, Buddy and I are still going to do the show on Wednesday night on Thanksgiving Eve. And on Monday, it's going to be really busy because we get Brian Kelly to talk about A&M. And I'm sure we'll get some more Heisman push from him. And then right after that, we're going to get Jay Johnson, and they wrap up fall ball tomorrow. So a lot going on at TigerBait.com. So go to TigerBait.com, check us out. $1, you can get on our premium content, and a lot of recruiting updates and video of LSU targets and commitments coming your way this week. So anything you want to add on the way out, Preston?
Nope, guys, look, just hit that like button. We're closing in on 25,000 subscribers. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. We want you to be part of that first 25K. It's been unbelievable, the growth of this channel, which, by the way, TigerBait's been around for a long time, but this YouTube channel has not. When did we start doing it for LSU content? Was it 2 years ago? Is that right, Mike? Maybe 3?
2019, 2020.
No, it wasn't. I think it was 2021. It definitely wasn't 2019.
It was 2020.
Maybe 2020. So it's been unbelievable how fast this show's grown. So I just really want to thank y'all. About 800 subscribers away from that 25K mark. So go be one of them. If you're not, hit that bell for live subscriptions. We don't do a ton of live videos. We do 3 a week, maybe. So we're not blowing you up like some channels might. So
well, we've got more coming on live.
Really?
Stay tuned for that. We're going to be debuting something in the coming weeks. So, all right, guys.
We're not blowing you up 10 times a day.
Thanks for staying up with us, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching it on Sunday at their own leisure. A lot of people went to bed early, but all right, guys. Good night.
Good night, y'all.